around. I won't pull you down in here. I hope that all of you have had a chance to do this. I encourage you to do it at your place. Because the first step to getting better is we have to analyze where we are. We're going to leave here sometime today or tomorrow, whenever Scott throws us out, and we're going to go home. But if we didn't know where we were at, we'd have a hard time finding our way home. We could end up in the wrong spot. You can take a post hole digger for your first time. Take a post hole digger, dig as deep as you can go, stick your knife in there, and start pulling it up. And every place that you come into a hard zone, when this was fresh yesterday, we came in here and we started running the knife. First one's right here at 15 inches, which that's to be commended. Most people's first compaction layer, and you'll feel it, is at 6 to 8. When we were in Wellsville, Missouri, and Lorna was sitting at the top of her pit, I was down in here and I was pulling that knife up, and she goes, I heard that, do it again. And I grabbed it and I pulled it up in the exact same spot mark and went thump. They had a horrible compaction layer at 18 inches. I mean, it was just like a brick. They had another one at 6 because their tillage had been different, and so they'd put theirs in at 6. This one here is at 15. The next one's down around 21, about 5 inches down. The next one that we came in at about 32, and then the last one was at 38 inches. It's unusual to find 4. Normally we only find 2, but that's what was here. In addition to that, what are we looking at? How far down can we get roots? I didn't even dig on this side, but right here, here's a root, guys, with root hairs. Mark, you'll find this interesting. We had someone who took us to task on social media and was explaining that I believe Dr. Mulvaney says there are 360,000 pounds of potassium in the top 6 feet of your soil. The question is how to access it. And this individual, he was going with a different soil scientist who was well-funded, and so he had some other research. Draw your own conclusion. Dr. Mulvaney has no funding at all. He does it on his own. But this other soil scientist, he said, well, that's not true. There's only, listen closely, there's only 40,000 pounds in the top 6 feet. Mark, 40,000 pounds? That's enough K to grow a crop, I think. That'll do her, right? The question is, how do I get it from here up here in the plow layer? So then he said, well, all of these roots that are down deep, and we're finding roots here, they're actually about 72 inches. Right at 6 feet is where the bottom roots were. Here's some right in here. Oh, there's another, I'm sorry, I'm stand corrected. There's some clear down in there. So we're probably 7 feet down. He said, well, those are just water roots. Well, they are seeking water. But here's what I can tell you. These roots have hairs on them. Hair roots take in nutrients. How do we get potassium in the plant? Roots grow, hairs grow out of the roots, they exude an acid. When they grow in between the platelets, that acid goes in there, that picks up the potassium, it's sucked back into the plant, translocated up into the plant. And guys, the best way to build our soil is with great roots. Build that, shove it into the plant, leave it behind, that stover recycles very quickly, and we move nutrients from way down deep up into the top. That's how Chris was able to move his P1 test up 62% in 8 years. And so guys, I encourage you, dig a root pit, get a backhoe, come out and say, where are my roots at? And what do I do? How do I get them to come down farther? You know, in a dry year, no matter what, there's almost always moisture down here somewhere, right? Now I know you guys were like us last year. You could dig a post hole and she'd be powdered, right? But somewhere down there, there was moisture. The question is, can we get the roots to grow through these 4 compaction layers, because they got to have some juice with them to get through there? And then can we get them to keep going? And guys, life is simple. Figure out how it works and get on the right side of it. If we're using the wrong fertilizers and our roots are getting more shallow, if we're doing the wrong tillage and we're getting more shallow, then all of a sudden we're on the wrong side. But if we're using the right micronutrients and the right starter, and we're getting the microbial life working in that soil, and they get deeper and deeper. And guess what? Next year when he comes in here, they've already got path to follow. And so they'll go deeper and deeper. Mason was supposed to be here today. If Mason had been here, he dug his root pit, Timmy, and he went down about 6 feet. And then I said, well, we found roots 10 feet deep down at Kelowna. And so he went down and he got a shovel and he dug 3 more feet. He's like a kid in a candy store, just so you know, Randy, okay? He's digging with a shovel. He's sending me Snapchats or videos of it, you know. And so then I get one 2 days later after Dan's field day. He goes, I hired the track hoe to come back in. I said, how deep can you go? He said, 11 feet. He said, do it. They went down 11 feet, and at 10.5 feet, he had roots. That was over in Castelia, Iowa. And so all of a sudden he realizes that 6 years into the system, he's got his roots working for him, getting way down there, and he's growing tremendous crops. He won the NCGA in Iowa last year and probably got a pretty good chance of doing it again this year. And so guys, it's relatively simple. It's just a matter of doing the right thing over and over and getting the results that you want. Does anybody have any questions on anything in here?